what are the learning outcomes. Now, the main learning outcomes of this lesson would be structure and location of pancreas, the major hormones which are being secreted, that is insulin, glucagon, and there is another hormone called somatostatin which is not there in your syllabus, but we will study a bit of it. Now, what are the diseases caused by hyposecretion as well as hypersecretion of these two hormones? Now, let us see in the next topic. Now, here we would see the structure and location of pancreas. Now, it is a compound gland which is mainly located in the posterior part of the stomach, and it is attached to the duodenal loop. The structure we will see in the next slide, and I will discuss it in detail. It is also called an exoendocrine gland. Now, let us see about the structure in the next slide. Now, here let us see the diagram of this pancreas. As we have discussed in the previous slide, that it is attached to the duodenal loop and it is in the posterior side of the stomach. Now, it is attached to the abdominal wall, and pancreas is both secreting digestive juices through its duct as well as hormones. So, it is an exoendocrine gland. So, the exocrine part is the duct part with duct which produces digestive juices. Here you can see the part with the duct. This is the pancreatic duct. Please do follow my red pointer over here. It is the pancreatic duct, and the part which is without duct is secreting hormones. So, these parts contain the cells called islets of Langerhans, and which are containing in turn alpha, beta and delta cells which secrete insulin, glucagon and somatostatin. Now, here you can see this part is called the head of the pancreas. This is called the common bile duct which is passing through on the top of the pancreas. It is the body of the pancreas, and this is the tail of the pancreas. Here it is the small intestine, and this is the part of duodenum. Now, next in the next slide we will see how this insulin and glucagon are functioning in our body. Now, let us move on to the next slide. Now, insulin is secreted by the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. Now, mainly they regulate the blood sugar levels by conversion of glucose to glycogen. And what is happening there? If glucose is there in more amount in the blood, it will be converted to glycogen so that it can be stored in the body, whereas in absence of glucose we can use it. Now, it stimulates the deposition of extra glucose in the blood as glycogen, and it stores in livers and muscles. Now, what will happen if this beta cells are not secreting insulin properly? What will happen? In case if there is any pancreatic disorder, they will not be secreting this insulin properly. Or in case if they are secreting more insulin, what will happen? Let us see that. In the next slide, we will see what are happening when there is a hypersecretion or hyposecretion of insulin. Yeah, in this slide, we will discuss about the hyposecretion and hypersecretion of insulin. Now, what happens in this hypersecretion? When there is hypersecretion, it causes diabetes mellitus. So, hyposecretion means less production of insulin hormone, which causes diabetes mellitus, whereas it is also called hyperglycemia. Now, high concentration of glucose will be present in blood as well as urine. So, when we go to a doctor, the doctor will tell the person to get its urine or either the blood examined so that we can get the exact amount of glucose present in the blood. We have seen people doing in the morning once fasting diabetes test, and one postprandial means after lunch, after food. So, how much glucose is being converted to glycogen, or whether it is present in the blood or urine. So, either blood or urine gives us the result. Now, what will happen? The person becomes thirsty and excessive urination will occur. And this excessive urination will automatically lead to weakness to that person. Now, these are the things which are happening when a person is having less secretion of insulin or hyposecretion. Now let us move when a person is having hypersecretion or more insulin in blood. So gradually the sugar level in the blood will drop. Why? Because most of the glucose in the blood will be converted to glycogen and it will be stored in the liver or the muscles for future use. Automatically the blood will lack the amount of glucose required during that level. So brain also requires some amount of glucose for its working function. So it will lead to state of coma, or suddenly a person will fall unconscious. Now in this cases, insulin is injected immediately and they are not taken orally, as it will be digested by the protein digestive enzymes in GI tract. So is it clear for everyone? Please go through it once in your textbook or through which you are referring to. Hyposecretion causes diabetes, whereas hypersecretion causes insulin shock or hypoglycemia. So these are all opposite conditions which are happening. Once the person is diabetic, he or she should be monitoring the glucose level in the blood very much frequently, so that he should not be under hypersecretion condition, neither he should be under hyposecretion condition. So there should be a constant level of insulin injected in the body to maintain the correct level of glucose in blood. Now let us see what is there in the next slide. Now here we will see the next hormone which is being secreted by the alpha cells. So alpha cells are secreting glucagon, which stimulates the conversion of glycogen to glucose, back to glucose. So it is acting exactly opposite to what insulin was doing. Insulin was converting glucose to glycogen, and this glucagon is converting glycogen to glucose, and it increases the level of sugar in blood. Now the role of insulin is to decrease the role of sugar in blood, and the role of glucagon is to increase the role of sugar in blood. Now let us see what happens in case when there is hyposecretion and hypersecretion of glucagon. Now here we will discuss about the hyposecretion, that is meaning the less secretion of glucagon, whereas the more secretion of glucagon. So what happens in that case? If we are seeing here, hyposecretion causes hypoglycemia, that is less glucose in blood. Now in this cases, as in case of hyper secretion of insulin, what is happening? That is happening in case of hyposecretion of glucagon. So both the hormones are acting in opposite manner. So what will happen in hypoglycemia? The brain will stop functioning, and the same thing will happen, like the person may go unconscious state, the person may have a coma type of state. So these are all either due to the effect of hyposecretion of glucagon or hypersecretion of insulin. So it should be tested properly. Now if there is hypersecretion, it causes hyperglucagonemia. So hyperglucagonemia means in a healthy individual, insulin always has a suppressive effect on the alpha cells. So because they are having an opposite effect, if more insulin is there in the blood, there should be less glucagon. So opposite effect, so that they can function normally. So although it's a rare hyperglucagonemia, they can be caused by several type of diseases, like either a tumor in the pancreatic alpha cells, or this is at times it is called glucagonoma syndrome. So this is not actually a general disease which is happening. So hyperglucagonemia is actually a rare disease which is either due to a presence of tumor in the pancreatic alpha cells or any other disease which is called glucagonoma syndrome. So you just know that hyposecretion causes hypoglycemia. Now in the next slide we will just have a quick view of the hormone which is out of your portions. I'll go through it once. Somatostatin. Now this is the hormone which is being secreted from the delta cells of islets of Langerhans, and it is also secreted from different parts like pyloric antrum, duodenum and all. They are all secreting this somatostatin hormone, and it is having diverse functions in the endocrine system as well as in the neurotransmission. So in higher classes, when you move on to higher classes, you will be studying in details about the somatostatin hormone also. So as of now, we have completed our pancreas, and please go through it very minutely, so that once you go through it only, you can be very clear about all the topics in this pancreas. Now in the next slide, we will be discussing, in the next part of endocrine system, we will be discussing about the pituitary gland. Thank you.